All right. Who should Arsenal sign in this January transfer window? We have only 4 days left till the market closes. I know the market usually closes in on January 31st at midnight, and most Gunners around the world seem to favor a striker. They believe that a striker is the at the moment a striker is what the club desperately needs, and there are a number of names that have been proposed. We have Ivan Toney from Brentford United. There is Dusan Vlahovic. Then lately we've been linked with a move for Karim Benzema. Karim Benzema moved to Al Ittihad, I think in the Saudi Arabia in the Middle East, and much as most of the Gunners seem to prefer a striker, I beg to differ with I beg to differ with all my Gunners family from all around the world. If you really want to know what the problem with the club at the moment is, then you only have to look at last season. Last season, we had two great players that really influenced our game, and these are Granit Xhaka. By the way, Granit Xhaka played his best football for the club last season, and Thomas Partey. Granit Xhaka left for Bayern Leverkusen, while Thomas Partey has been largely absent from the team this season. And this is the area that needs to be immediately addressed and not the strikers. Uh, 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 not the strikers, uh, much as most people seem to prefer a striker. I beg to differ with everyone, and I believe that the greatest need for the club at the moment is that we should go for a very high profile midfielder. Now, last season, even when Gabriel Jesus was out for close to 3 months, Edin Ketia stepped up pretty well for Gabriel Jesus, and and he scored goals, and Arsenal kept on winning and winning, and it was I think about 5 points ahead of City with 9 games left to go. And last season, Arsenal, well, they lost their Premier League title not because of a lack of a good striker, but because they simply ran out of steam. Fatigue crept in. This is what we call nerves in football. A good example is Manchester City versus and Liverpool. Man City were only 1 point. I think a few seasons ago, Man City was only 1 point ahead of Liverpool with like 10 games left to go. And this is where we say there is no margin for error. And this is this is this is what people also call separating the boys from the men. This is where experience comes in, and and Man City eventually won the league on the D-Day with only 1 point. So I don't want to hear all those lame excuses from all the Gunners that about squad depth. You don't just enter into a race if you're not fully prepared. And I don't want to ever hear all those, well, let me just call them lame excuses. We just have to hand Man City the. We just have to accept that Man City won the title last season. And before you say anything, guys, my friend, trust me, there are only few, so none like me in the rest of the world. I read most of your posts online, and I believe that no one shares better facts about football more than me. And trust me, my friend, I am a very just person. So having identified the area that needs urgent addressing, I have come up with a list of several midfielders that I feel the club should go for them, gun blazing, uh, before the window closes. And trust me when I tell you that when it comes to choosing, sometimes, well, all these players are great, but sometimes it is just down to preference. This is the player that I really like the most. This is the player that I feel can really help the club. And sometimes it is just based on, sometimes it is just because it is just, I prefer this player. And even the best managers in the whole world, even if you have to put them together in one place, I'm very sure that one manager might like a certain player, another manager might also prefer another player. So it is just down to preference, it's just down to tactics, just down to how you love your football. So there are a number of names that I like to that I've come up with. And the first name on the list is Andre Onana. Andre Onana plays for Everton. He's very young. He's only 22 years old. He's tall. Have you seen him? He can tackle. He's got long legs. Can really drive that ball forward. And and I really believe that this guy can really shield the back four pretty well, and he can be a very good Granit Xhaka replacement. Remember, we've never replaced Granit Xhaka, my friends. And don't you dare tell me that Kai Havertz is, well, Granit Xhaka's replacement. Then for a fee of around 50 to 60 million pounds for a 22-year-old, then I think it makes perfect sense. Then the next name on my list is Douglas Luiz. Douglas Luiz plays for Aston Villa. He was Aston Villa's best player of the season last season, and I know that pricing him away from the Villa Park won't come cheap. And I know we have to dig deep into our pockets. Probably a fee of around 80 million pounds, a minimum of maybe 80 million pounds, might be able to persuade Aston Villa to part with one of their best players. Then there is also Palhinha. Palhinha plays for Fulham, and all these players are incredible. I've been watching all their YouTube videos. I've been trying to check out their statistics online, and all these players are great. And Palhinha is also another player that has really caught my attention. I really like Palhinha. Then there is Aurelian Chouameni. Chouameni plays for Real Madrid. He's big, he's strong, and just like Douglas Luiz, we also have to dig deep into our pockets, in order to, well, get Chouameni to come to, well, to the Emirates. Then there is Teun Koopmeiners. Teun Koopmeiners plays for Atalanta in the Serie A, and I know that I've had several names being linked with a move to the Emirates Stadium, but my friends, take a good look at Teun Koopmeiners. This guy is really great, my friend. He's left-footed. He somehow reminds me of Granit Xhaka. He's left-footed, can those long balls, long shots. He can play in the central midfielder, in the CM, central midfield, DM, and can also play as a centre back. Then there is also Martin Zubimendi. Real Sociedad. I think that At the moment, I think that Mikel Arteta seems to prefer Martin Zubimendi over all these players that I've mentioned. But then again, I say that when it comes to football, it is just down to which player do I really like the most. Sometimes it's not just that one player is better than the other, or one player, or just anything in football, but it is just down to one manager might prefer another player, the other manager might also prefer a different player. So, having said all this, my preference, because I am a gooner at heart, and I've been an Arsene Wenger student for so long, because I've watched Arsenal from the time, well, Wenger took over. I think I became an Arsenal fan from 2003. So from 2003 to 2017, That's those are very long years, and one can just simply say that I have been a student of Arsene Wenger, and most of my signings have been influenced by the type of players that Wenger used to sign over the years. It is just because I love certain players. Barcelona, they don't just go for any player. They have a certain way in which they play, and they only certain players can, well, they can fit into the system. They can be able to, well, play according to their tactics. And Barcelona is not different from Arsenal. Arsenal also play their football in such a specific way. And if you play your football in a specific way, then you need, well, certain players. You don't just sign anyone. And that's why I feel like Andre Onana is the perfect fit for Arsenal this season. Maybe they can loan him till the end of the season with an option to sign him at the end of the season. And let me know in the comment section below which players, if do you agree with everything that I've just said, and which midfielder do you feel like the club should totally go for this season? All right. So the second other players that I also love the club to sign are Alexis Sanchez and Santiago Cazorla. You guys were willing to sign Karim Benzema. Karim Benzema, I think, is in around 37, 36, 37. I think Sanchez is also around that age. And if you can offer Karim Benzema a chance to move to the Emirates Stadium, why can't you do it? Why can't you do the same to Alexis Sanchez? Alexis Sanchez was one of our own. He knows the club, and one thing I love to say about Alexis Sanchez is that Alexis Sanchez regrets leaving the Emirates Stadium. And this is a player, if we were to resign him, my friends, trust me, he will give us more than 100%. And that's why I propose for us to go for Alexis Sanchez. Alexis Sanchez can play as a left winger, a striker, or a right winger. Let me just say, can play on all those forward lines. And this is why I feel like the club should sign Alexis Sanchez. Then Santiago Cazorla. Santiago Cazorla, my friends, ran the show at the Emirates Stadium for years. Ever wondered at one moment why our game never felt the same? It was because Santi left the club. Santi was the one that pulled the strings. Santi was the one that made everything run so smoothly well at the club. We signed Santi from Malaga CF in 2012 for around 12 million pounds, and Santi did not even take any time to Santi. Uh, the English love say that he took to the Premier League like a duck to water. You just a duck is just so comfortable in water, and Santiago Cazorla never even spent one day, well, trying to settle in the club. He's just walked in the club and, well, started acting immediately. He was just meant to play for Arsenal. And he never got to say, well, his proper goodbye. Remember, well, at one time, remember when he had to go through this major surgery. They had to, like, pluck out or chuck out part of his body from his arm, then fit that body part into his leg because he had to go for, well, this major surgery. I think I think for around 1.5 years, Santi I think he stayed out for close to 1.5 years. But Santiago Cazorla is a player that you can't say that he was prone to injuries. It only happened once. And once he underwent that major surgery, then he has never struggled ever since. Remember when he left Arsenal, he moved to Villarreal and spent 2 years playing one of the finest football in this world. Then he moved to Saudi Arabia, Al Assad, and still gave them, I think it was like player of the season, and he broke records in Saudi Arabia. Then, the moment I think he decided to move to his boyhood club, Real Oviedo, in the Segunda Division. And at 39 years old, I believe that Santiago Cazorla is still one of the best. And he ran the show at Arsenal. And Santiago Cazorla was not injury prone. So as I wind up, I just like to say that I don't understand why do these football managers have to wait till the end of the transfer window. This is the time when they're doing their business. This is the time when they're completing their signings. But they had all this time. Remember, the market usually we have to transfer. We have two markets: January, the winter, and the summer. And when the market opens, this is the time to do business. And before that, clubs should have identified the players that they want to bring to their club, so that when the market opens, this is the time for them to do business. When the market opens, this is not the time to start scouting. When the market opens, this is the time to do business. You're supposed to have known the players that you're going to sign before the market well opens. And January is usually short one, only 1 month, from January till January 31st. But we have the long one from in the summer. I think it starts at July to August, the end of August. Those are like 2 months, and and players are able to join the club for the pre-season, and this is a time that will help them settle in and know more about the club, the tactics, so that when the season starts, they are able to just start playing, and no excuses about players that they needed time to settle in, because we had all this time in the world to do that. So I just like to thank everyone for watching this video. My friends, kindly subscribe, like, leave a comment, and thank you for your time, and I'll see you in my next videos. Cheers and goodbye.